Taking My Time, But I Don't Know Where. Written by cosmicocean on AO3. Read by Alextris. Chapter 25. Bitter February turns into mild March, turns into lightly warming early April, and Barnes still isn't sure where he stands on the whole Steve thing, but he stops following him, which is probably for the best. He learns how to make pasta by hand. He sews May a long burnt gold skirt. He knits Peter a clumsy cream sweater and better socks for MJ and Ned. He has coffee with Bex. He tries to work out who he is now, piece by piece, and how, maybe, he could start fitting Steve into it. "Dude, I'm so excited to be done with school," Peter tells him as they walk down the street late at night and in uniform. "You got 2 more months. I am counting down the days. We'll do something fun." Barnes isn't sure what fun would be. He's been thinking about learning to make ice cream. Maybe something collides with his shoulder. Barnes hits the ground heavily with a startled noise, and Peter whirls. "Barnes?" "He's been shot," Barnes realizes dimly, the pain just starting to register. "Go," he rasps, pushing himself to his feet, ignoring the sharpness in his shoulder. "Kid, get the fuck—" And then they come. Barnes pushes through the pain. He hacks and he shoots and he stabs, because guys who shoot him right off the bat, they're not guys to play nice with. Not like the guys robbing strangers in side alleys. Then he's tackled by one guy, then another, then another. He struggles to push them off him, catches a glimpse of a patch on their shoulders. Hydra. Panic blossoms in Barnes. He pushes harder, but another guy jumps on top of him. They've got the kid, he realizes, unconscious and slung over someone's shoulder. The panic rises like bile in Barnes' throat. "Kid!" he roars, struggling to push up and off, his feet scrambling against the ground as they load the kid into a black van. "What do we do with this guy?" somebody asks, and a tall, pointy-looking man with a moustache that looks down at him, writhing on the ground, and Barnes viciously commits his face to memory, baring his teeth, furiously burns it into his brain so he'll know exactly what to do with it when he sees it again. "Leave him," he says dismissively. "We don't need him, just a drifter mercenary." Barnes turns his attention to the license plate on the van. He burns that into his memory too, makes sure the number is the only thing he thinks about before the blow to his head comes. When Barnes wakes, he's on an empty street surrounded by corpses. It's not unfamiliar, but when he remembers why, he throws up anyway. Barnes kneels in the street, breathing heavy. His brain is a fever. Raw, unbridled fear burning like acid on his tongue, tightening his lungs, making it just as hard to breathe as it was for Steve back in the day. Then he gathers himself to his feet and starts running. Barnes shoves the door to the apartment with a bang, and May surges to her feet from the couch. "I thought you'd be back, but—" She stops dead, staring at Barnes, bloody and drawn with terror. "Where's—" They stare at each other, all the blood draining from May's face. "He's alive," Barnes rasps. "I can fix it. I need you to dig a bullet out of me first." May surges into action. She grabs her first aid kit and a headlamp as Barnes yanks his shirt off. She works in silence, hands steady, even as the rest of her trembles. When she's done, she just looks at Barnes, her eyes almost vacant with fear. "I can fix it," he repeats. "May, I can—" He swallows. I'm sorry, but I can fix it. I need a laptop." May snatches her computer and hands it to him. "What can I do?" she asks, steel in her voice, even though her hands have now started shaking. "There's nothing," Barnes croaks. "I'm gonna fix it." Hacking is not something Barnes was built to do. It was always meant to be a blunt instrument. But at some point in the 90s, some Hydra operative had thought it would be a good idea for the Winter Soldier to know a little something. Barnes had always thought it was the most useless knowledge in his skill set, even when he was merely the asset, when he wasn't supposed to have those thoughts, any thoughts. He's never been more grateful for anything than he is to have that knowledge now. He starts with the van's license plate and works his way back from there. He plows through rental companies, through flight records, through nondescript funds and shadowy places. Barnes pushes and pushes and pushes until finally, as the sun comes up, he has a location. "He's in Switzerland," Barnes tells May, the first time he's spoken in hours. He checks his phone. Natalia hasn't responded to any of the texts he's sent. God damn it. Barnes gets up and walks into the room, yanking another long-sleeved tactical shirt out of his dresser as May follows him in. Why the fuck is he in Switzerland? I don't know. Barnes pulls the shirt on and starts tugging open his weapons chests. I'm gonna go get him. Who were they? Hydra. Your guys? Barnes straps knives and guns to himself. Yeah. What the fuck do your guys want with Peter? I don't know. Barnes pulls his jacket on. But their plane left later than it was supposed to, so that buys us some time. I'm gonna take care of it. Barnes. May follows Barnes out of his room as he goes to check his phone on the table. Barnes, can you take them all by yourself? No. Barnes writes down the location on a piece of paper. I'm gonna have help. He shoves the location in his pocket and turns to her. She looks exhausted, he thinks, and fragile. May, I'm so fucking sorry. I'm not blaming you, she whispers. Barnes takes her in his arms, and for a second they just cling to each other. I'm gonna call you, he tells May, releasing her. As soon as I know anything, I'm gonna call you. Try and sleep a little, 'cause I won't know anything right off the bat. Okay, she answers hoarsely. Don't go to work today. You didn't sleep at all. Ain't good for you. I won't. May, I'm gonna bring him back. I believe you. Barnes can't bring himself to say anything else, and he flies out the door.